But on the same hand, you have to say, like, okay, well, it's hard to sit back there. And we talked about it with Sergeant Mattingly. It was hard for him to sit back there and watch all this fucking false information come out. That sucks too. I totally get that, but you're not going to win in the comments. I'm just telling you right now, you're not going to win people over in the comments generally.
Yeah.
Like if you have something to say, you have to kind of play the game and do it the right way. And that goes into a whole nother debate about, police departments withholding information for months and days and
Yeah.
weeks. Just fucking get it out.
You know what's funny is your story reminded me of something I posted just yesterday on my Instagram. Did you see the one where it had the officer spraying that guy in the face with the Mark 9 mace?
I did not see that one.
Okay. So several years ago, and this was probably just after Ferguson, so there was a lot of riot pictures and stuff out there.
Oh yes, I did see that actually.
Yeah,
yes.
there's a picture of a police officer spraying this dude point blank in the face with a Mark 9 pepper, which a Mark 9 mace container is basically a fire extinguisher. You're point blank firing mace in someone's face with a fire extinguisher.
It's the party can.
Yeah. And the dude is wearing a shirt that says "fuck the police." So the officer's just standing there point blank hosing this guy. And that was my profile picture for a little while. And there was a shooting that occurred with my department, and my department posted something about it on Facebook, and people started calling the officers cowards. And it was one of those ones where of course the shooting occurred at an after hours bar at 3:30 in the morning on a part of town that is very well known for having documented gang problems. So
I'm pretty sure they were just reading the Bible, sir.
Yes, that dude, I'm not even kidding. That's what his grandmother told the newspaper. It was said, so it's an after hours bar in a very well documented gang area at 3:30 in the morning. For people who don't know what an after hours bar is, the bars close at 1:30 or 2. These people all go to these private clubs and continue to get fucking hammered. And then when
shoot each other.
Yeah, they start shooting each other. So a call came out about somebody in the parking lot firing a gun in the air. The officers walked over the car, and they see the driver, who was described as the guy who had the gun, sitting in the car with a gun in his lap. They put him at gunpoint, tell him not to move or, whatever it is. And they end up shooting the guy. He lived, but they ended up shooting him. Turns out he had a concealed weapons permit. So the story became, and this was from these there's insane people on every side of every argument. The absolutely fucking dog shit insane Second Amendment people that don't take common sense into account for anything. They're like, oh, these fucking cops are just cowards. They see a guy with a gun, they just start fucking blasting for no reason, whatever. They completely forgot about the part that it was 3:30 in the morning. He was probably extremely intoxicated and also had just fired his gun up in the air and was not responding to commands by the police officers. But yeah, I was responding to some of those comments with my profile that actually I think had my full name, because this is before we all got cool and started changing our names. And I had the picture of a police officer spraying someone in the face, and that person's shirt said "fuck the police." And I was calling people cowards because I was like, you don't have the balls to stand in front of that officer and say this to him. And I told him, everyone knew what sub he worked out of. I was like, here's what you do: you go to that sub, you request a ride along for that officer, and then you watch how he does his job, and you can tell him through his entire 8-hour shift how everything he did was wrong. And by the way, you have to call him a coward every single time he gets out of his car. That was basically the back and forth I had. And so I checked my email, and I had an email from our public affairs officer, who was actually a sergeant. And all it said was, in the title of the email, it said Facebook. And in the body of the email, it says, call me as soon as you read this message. So, and I called him and I left a message, which I said, hey, sir, or Sarge, or whatever. I was like, I know why you sent me this email. I apologize. I'll go delete my comments right now. And they never called me back, so I wasn't in any real trouble over it. But The really funny thing is that that particular um, sergeant was later put in prison for child pornography.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's the word.